When I woke up in the ICU, in the very beginning, it's sort of in and out of consciousness. You know, you're kind of aware what's going on. You're kind of aware that you had a transplant. It was about 4 hours after I woke up from the surgery, and I looked up for the first time, and I saw Dr. Sonnet standing there at the foot of the bed. He started asking me how I was feeling and, how I was doing, and then it turned into, he asked me if I was a personal trainer, and I said, yeah, I am. And he said, I just ran the New York City Marathon last week. And I said to him, well, that's something I'd like to do someday, not anytime soon. And he said, well, how about next year? How about next year we run it together? I just realized at that moment that when he was standing at the foot of my bed in the ICU, he wasn't really being a surgeon anymore. He was being much more than that. He was reaching out to me and saying, I really care about what happens to you, and I want to make sure that within a year you will run a marathon. And I just knew that he was being more than encouraging. I knew that he really believed I could do this, and knowing that he believed that I could made all the difference. It made me believe that everything was going to be fine. It made me believe that I was going to run the New York City Marathon less than a year after getting a double lung transplant. So I had not seen Dr. Sonnet since the operation, and I talked to him, for hours and emailed constantly, almost every day, but I had not physically seen him. So the morning of the marathon, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, we had a rendezvous spot to meet where the bus was going to take us to the start village. He went so above and beyond. He had a T-shirt made up, and it said, Tim over here, and it said, cystic fibrosis, double lung transplant patient, 11/10/9, the date that I had my transplant. And in his T-shirt, it said, cystic fibrosis, double lung transplant surgeon. And I asked him 2 questions. I said, well, why do I have Tim on my shirt and you don't have Josh on your shirt? And he said, well, because I want people cheering for you. And that really struck me. And I didn't really appreciate what that meant until I was actually on the course running. And you have millions of fans lining the streets. Someone described it as a 26.2-mile standing ovation. It's exactly what it is. And people are just screaming, Tim, keep going, Tim. And I knew what he meant. And Dr. Sonnet got the crowd going. Everyone's screaming, go, Tim, go, Tim. And the hairs in the back of my neck stood up. And, and I'm looking at him thinking, this is the guy who saved my life. And here he is doing this for me again. It was such an amazing gift on top of a gift. And so he really wanted to be there for me. He wasn't there to run the marathon. He had already done it 4 times before. So this wasn't something he needed to do, but he wanted to be there for me. And towards the end of the finish, where we saw the finish line just up ahead, I looked at him and I jokingly said to him, so you're going to let me win? And he looked at me and with a straight face, he said, we're going to cross that finish line together, holding hands. And that's exactly what we did.